Carlos Baleba to Manchester United. The 100 million question that could define our future. Welcome back to Unite United News, your most trusted source for everything Manchester United. While other outlets give you rumors and clickbait, we dig deep to bring you the real story behind every major transfer saga. Today, we need to talk about something that could change the entire direction of our club for the next decade. Picture this. A 21-year-old midfielder who has Premier League experience, incredible potential, and the exact skill set that Ruben Amorim needs to transform Manchester United. Sounds too good to be true? Well, Carlos Baleba is very real, and our club is willing to break the bank to get him. But here's the million-dollar question, or should we say the 100 million pound question. Is Carlos Baleba worth the massive price tag Brighton is demanding? And more importantly, what does this pursuit tell us about Manchester United's transfer strategy moving forward? Who is Carlos Baleba and why does everyone want him? Let's start with the basics because not every United fan knows who Carlos Baleba is yet. The 21-year-old midfielder currently plays for Brighton, and if you've been following the Premier League closely, you've probably noticed him making waves in the middle of the park. Carlos Baleba joined Brighton and has quickly become one of their most important players. The young midfielder brings something different to the table, a combination of physicality, technical ability, and football intelligence that you don't see very often in players his age. What makes Baleba special? First, his presence on the field is impossible to ignore. At just 21, he plays with the confidence of someone who has been in the Premier League for years. He can break up play, distribute the ball effectively, and has shown he can handle the pressure of playing in England's top flight. James Milner, who has played with some of the best midfielders in the world, recently said something that should make every United fan take notice. I like being in the middle on the training field with someone like Carlos Baleba, whose potential is through the roof. So much ability. When a player of Milner's experience and knowledge speaks about someone's potential in those terms, you know there's something special there. Manchester United's new strategy, building for the future. Under Ruben Amorim, Manchester United seems to have completely changed their approach to transfers. Gone are the days of panic buying expensive players in their late 20s. Instead, the club is now focused on young, talented players who can grow with the team. The pursuit of Carlos Baleba fits perfectly into this new philosophy. At 21 years old, Baleba could be a cornerstone of United's midfield for the next decade. This isn't just about solving immediate problems, it's about building something that will last. But why Baleba specifically? What is it about this young midfielder that has caught Amorim's attention? The answer lies in what United currently lack in midfield. While the team has some good players in the middle of the park, they're missing that dynamic presence who can do everything: defend, attack, create, and control the tempo of games. Baleba has shown he can do all of these things at Brighton. He's not just a defensive midfielder, and he's not just an attacking midfielder. He's a complete midfielder, and those players are incredibly rare in today's game. The price tag problem. Is any player worth 100 million? Now let's address the elephant in the room: the price. Brighton reportedly values Carlos Baleba at over 100 million pounds. To put that in perspective, that's more money than United have ever spent on a single player. Is any midfielder worth that much money? It's a question that divides opinion, but let's look at this from Brighton's perspective first. Brighton sold Moises Caicedo to Chelsea for 115 million pounds, setting a new benchmark for midfielders. From their point of view, if Caicedo was worth that much, then Baleba, whom many believe has even higher potential, should be worth at least the same amount. Brighton's valuation isn't just about the player's current ability. They're pricing in his potential, his age, his contract length, and the fact that they don't actually want to sell him. It's what economists call a reluctant seller price. They're saying if you want our best young talent, you'll have to make an offer we can't refuse. From Manchester United's perspective, 100 million pounds is a massive investment. But if Baleba becomes the midfielder many expect him to become, it could actually be a bargain in the long run. Think about it this way. If Baleba develops into a world-class midfielder and plays for United for the next 10 years, that 100 million pounds works out to 10 million per season. For a key player who could transform the team, that's not unreasonable. What the experts are saying: The football world is divided on whether Manchester United should pursue this deal. Let's look at what some key figures have said about Carlos Baleba and this potential transfer. Roy Keane, never one to mince words, expressed some skepticism. "I'd be surprised if it happened. I still think that he's got to do a bit more. There's still potential. You're not going to pay 100 million. You're on about buying big money for strikers who are guaranteed. I still think it's potential for some of these players." Keane makes a valid point. Spending 100 million on potential rather than proven quality is always risky. But then again, all the best transfers involve an element of risk. On the other side, Troy Deeney believes United need to act fast. "I think United have to get him this window or they don't get him. If he has another good season, I do think other teams with Real Madrid and the like will come in. This is probably the most important point in the entire debate. If United don't sign Baleba now, they might never get another chance. Once Real Madrid or other top European clubs enter the race, United's chances of signing him become much smaller." Tim Sherwood offered a more measured view. "He had a great second season for Brighton, and he will get better and probably move to a bigger club." The use of the word "bigger" in quotes is interesting. It suggests that even though Brighton is a well-run club with great facilities, there's still a natural progression for talented players to move to clubs with greater ambitions and resources. Brighton's position. Why they don't want to sell. Understanding Brighton's position in this transfer saga is crucial to understanding why this deal is so difficult to complete. Brighton manager Fabian Herzler couldn't be clearer about his stance. When asked about Baleba's future, he said he was very, very, very confident that the player would stay. "I didn't see any change. He only changed his hair. He is enjoying being a Brighton player," Herzler added, showing that the club believes Baleba is happy where he is. From Brighton's perspective, selling Baleba this summer doesn't make sense for several reasons. First, they've already sold several key players in recent transfer windows. Losing another star would severely weaken their squad. Second, they believe Baleba's value will only increase. If he has another good season, more clubs will be interested, potentially driving the price even higher. Brighton's ideal scenario is to keep Baleba for another season and then sell him in 2026 for an even larger fee. This puts Manchester United in a difficult position. They want the player, but Brighton doesn't want to sell, and the asking price is enormous. Manchester United's backup plan. Wait until 2026? According to recent reports, Manchester United might be prepared to play the long game. The Manchester Evening News reported that United are willing to delay their move for Baleba until next year if a deal proves impossible this summer. This strategy makes sense from several angles. First, it gives United more time to assess Baleba's development. If he continues to improve at Brighton, the investment becomes less risky. If he struggles or gets injured, United can look elsewhere. Second, waiting a year might actually reduce the price. While Brighton hope his value will increase, there's no guarantee that will happen. Football is unpredictable, and player values can go down as well as up. Third, it gives United time to plan their finances better. Spending £100 million on one player requires careful financial planning, especially with financial fair play regulations. But there's also a significant risk in waiting. As Troy Deeney pointed out, other top clubs might enter the race next summer. If Real Madrid or Barcelona decide they want Baleba, United's chances of signing him become much smaller. The Adam Wharton connection. Building a dream midfield partnership. One of the most interesting aspects of this story is the connection to Crystal Palace's Adam Wharton. Reports suggest that Manchester United's long-term plan involves partnering Baleba with Wharton in central midfield. Both players are 21 years old, meaning they could potentially play together for United for the next decade. This isn't just about buying good players. It's about creating a foundation that could define United's success for years to come. Adam Wharton has impressed at Crystal Palace and with England. Like Baleba, he's young, talented, and has the potential to become a world-class midfielder. The idea of pairing these two players is exciting for any United fan. But here's where it gets interesting from a transfer strategy perspective. If United can't get Baleba this summer, they might move for Wharton instead. Crystal Palace values Wharton at around £60 million. Still expensive, but more manageable than Brighton's asking price for Baleba. This could be a smart approach. Sign Wharton now, then return for Baleba in 2026 when the pieces are already in place for a dream midfield partnership. Financial fair play, the hidden challenge. One aspect of this transfer saga that often gets overlooked is financial fair play, FFP. Manchester United have already spent heavily this summer on players like Matheus Cunha, Brian Bumo, and Benjamin Sesko, investing more than £200 million. Adding another £100 million for Baleba would push United's spending to astronomical levels. While the club has significant revenue, FFP rules limit how much they can spend relative to their income. This financial reality might be more important than anything else in determining whether this deal happens. United might want Baleba, and Baleba might want to join United. But if the numbers don't add up from an FFP perspective, the deal simply can't happen. This is another reason why waiting until 2026 might make sense. It gives United time to generate more revenue and potentially sell some players to balance their books. What this means for current United midfielders. If Manchester United do sign Carlos Baleba, what does that mean for the current midfield options at the club? The arrival of a £100 million midfielder would certainly shake things up. It would send a clear message about the club's ambitions and the level of player they expect to have in the squad. Some current midfielders might see this as motivation to raise their game. Others might realize their time at United is coming to an end. Competition for places would become fierce, which could benefit the team overall. But it's worth remembering that Baleba is still young and would need time to adapt to life at Manchester United. Even if he joins, he might not be an immediate starter. The integration process for any new player, especially one costing £100 million, needs to be handled carefully. The bigger picture, what this says about United's ambitions. The pursuit of Carlos Baleba tells us something important about where Manchester United see themselves and where they want to go. First, it shows that United are serious about competing with the best clubs in Europe. You don't spend £100 million on a midfielder unless you have genuine ambitions to win major trophies. Second, it demonstrates a shift in transfer strategy. Instead of buying established stars at their peak, United are now focusing on young players with enormous potential. This is a more sustainable approach that could pay dividends for years to come. Third, it shows that United are willing to be patient and strategic in their approach. The willingness to wait until 2026 if necessary shows a level of planning and long-term thinking that hasn't always been present in United's transfer strategy. The risks and rewards. Like any major transfer, signing Carlos Baleba would involve significant risks and potential rewards. The risks are obvious. £100 million is an enormous amount of money for any player, let alone one who is still developing. There's no guarantee that Baleba will fulfill his potential or adapt successfully to life at Manchester United. Injuries are always a concern with young players. Development isn't always linear. Sometimes promising young players plateau or even regress. The pressure of playing for Manchester United and justifying a £100 million price tag could be overwhelming. But the potential rewards are equally significant. If Baleba develops as expected, United could have one of the best midfielders in the world for the next decade. His resale value would likely remain high, protecting United's investment. More importantly, the right midfielder could be the final piece in United's puzzle. With a solid defense, an improved attack, and a world-class midfielder controlling games, United could genuinely challenge for major trophies again. Fan reactions. What United supporters are saying. Manchester United fans are divided on this potential transfer. Some are excited about the prospect of signing one of Europe's most promising young midfielders. Others are concerned about the price tag and whether the money could be better spent elsewhere. The excitement is understandable. United fans have watched their team struggle in midfield for years. The prospect of solving that problem with a young, talented player who could be at the club for a decade is appealing. But the concerns are valid too. £100 million is a lot of money, and United have made expensive mistakes in the transfer market before. The pressure on Baleba to justify that price tag would be enormous. Many fans seem to be taking a wait-and-see approach. They're interested in the player but want to see how he develops over the next season before committing to such a massive investment. Alternative scenarios. What if the deal doesn't happen? It's worth considering what happens if Manchester United don't sign Carlos Baleba, either this summer or in 2026. The most likely scenario is that United pursue other midfield targets. The Adam Wharton option has already been mentioned, but there are other young midfielders around Europe who could fit United's profile. Another possibility is that United focus on developing their current young midfielders. The club has some promising talents in their academy, and investing in their development might be more cost-effective than spending £100 million on Baleba. There's also the chance that United's midfield improves without any major signings. Sometimes the right coaching and tactics can get more out of existing players than new signings can. The verdict: should United make this move? So, should Manchester United spend £100 million on Carlos Baleba? The answer depends on your perspective and your tolerance for risk. If you believe Baleba has the potential to become a world-class midfielder and that United need to act decisively to secure top talent, then yes, the deal makes sense despite the price. If you think £100 million is too much to spend on potential rather than proven quality, then waiting or pursuing other targets might be the better option. What's clear is that this transfer saga represents something important for Manchester United. It shows a club that's serious about rebuilding and willing to invest in the future. Whether that investment pays off remains to be seen. Looking forward, the future of United's midfield. Regardless of whether Carlos Baleba joins Manchester United, this transfer saga has highlighted the importance of midfield in modern football. The days when clubs could succeed with average midfielders are long gone. Today's game demands technical quality, physical presence, and tactical intelligence in the middle of the park. Manchester United understand this, which is why they're willing to spend big on the right player. The pursuit of Baleba, whether successful or not, shows that United are serious about building a midfield that can compete with the best in Europe. If Baleba does join, United fans can look forward to watching one of the most promising young midfielders in world football develop at Old Trafford. If he doesn't, the search for the right midfielder will continue, but United's commitment to improving this area of the team is clear. The transfer window reality check. As we approach the end of the summer transfer window, it's worth remembering that football transfers are unpredictable. Deals that seem certain can fall through at the last minute, while transfers that appear impossible can suddenly materialize. The Carlos Baleba saga is far from over. Brighton might lower their asking price if they receive a serious offer. Baleba might push for a move if he's genuinely interested in joining United. Financial fair play considerations might become less restrictive if United can sell some players. Alternatively, Brighton might stick to their valuation. Baleba might decide he's happy where he is, and United might conclude the deal isn't worth pursuing. What we can say with certainty is that Manchester United are serious about improving their midfield, and Carlos Baleba is at the top of their wish list. Whether that translates into a completed transfer remains to be seen. Final thoughts. More than just a transfer. The Carlos Baleba transfer saga is about more than just signing one player. It's about Manchester United's identity, ambitions, and vision for the future. For too long, United have been reactive in the transfer market, making panic buys and signing players who don't fit their system. The methodical pursuit of Baleba, even if it means waiting until 2026, suggests a more mature and strategic approach. This is the kind of signing that could define Manchester United's next decade, not just because of Baleba's quality as a player, but because of what it represents. A club that knows what it wants and is willing to be patient to get it. Whether Carlos Baleba ends up at Old Trafford or not, this transfer saga has shown that Manchester United are thinking bigger and planning better than they have for years. And for United fans who have endured disappointment after disappointment in recent seasons, that might be the most encouraging thing of all. At Unite United News, we'll continue to follow this story closely and bring you the latest developments as they happen. Because when it comes to Manchester United, every detail matters, and every transfer story has the potential to change everything. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into one of the summer's most intriguing transfer sagas. Make sure to subscribe to Unite United News for all the latest Manchester United content. Because when big stories break, you'll hear about them here first. Until next time, keep the red flag flying high.